That was a fun one for once. Not too many of those moments here in this early parts of the Philadelphia Phillies 2026 season, but last night that was a really fun one, and I'll get to that in just a few moments. It had to do with one 22-year-old right-handed starter that was on the mound making his MLB debut, but the Phillies picked up a 3-2 victory over the Washington Nationals last night on Tuesday. They evened up this three-game series at one game apiece, so we're heading into the series finale here actually this afternoon. So depending on what time you're watching this video, game might be already happening, game might already have ended, or you're tuning in before early in the morning, but it's a 1:05 start time here on Wednesday afternoon. Christopher Sanchez, the Phillies ace, is on the mound to try to get their first series win of the 2026 season and start to get some momentum here as they get further along into the early parts of this season. He was dominant on opening day, as we all know, picked up that win as well. Christopher Sanchez, 10 strikeouts, great stuff out of him. I expect nothing less. Obviously, probably not 10 strikeouts, but he is an ace. He is dominant. Hopefully, he can come through and get this series victory for the Phillies on the mound here this afternoon. Welcome to Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Kennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Now, Bleacher Report earlier yesterday, I saw this, I believe, so I'm not sure if it was actually yesterday or some point before that, but maybe if it was yesterday, they released their top 25 MLB rookie rankings here for the 2026 season. That's because some of these rookies got off to tremendous starts to their MLB careers. So there's been a lot of talk about this potentially being just an elite rookie class and a lot of contenders, serious contenders for both American League and National League Rookie of the Year. The Phillies, as we all know, have two rookies on their roster right now with the big league club, two highly anticipated rookies, and they are both coming through. I'll get to that later on in this video as well, but those two rookies, obviously, Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford. Now on Bleacher Report's top 25 rookie rankings here for Major League Baseball for the 2026 season, both Justin Crawford and Andrew Painter were on that list. Justin Crawford came in at number 13 out of the top 25 on that list, and then Andrew Painter, 2 spots ahead of him at number 11. And Andrew Painter and both Justin Crawford, probably both of them, we could see them steadily rise higher and higher in these rookie rankings if they continue to impress and play the way they've played so far in their very short but impressive MLB careers here to start off the season. And we're going to get into the main topic here today, and that is none other than the 22-year-old right-handed starter, Andrew Painter. He was impressive, very, very, very impressive last night in that 3-2 victory over the Nationals. If you didn't watch that game, make sure you watch some highlights, or maybe if you see a replay on maybe before the game today or after the game today, if they're showing it somewhere, check it out. Andrew Painter looked really good, and he offered a lot of exciting things here for Phillies fans like me and like all of you to really get excited about for the future. I know it's one start, but we all know how highly talked about he's been since the Phillies drafted him a few years ago through his minor league career. Obviously had the Tommy John that shut him down for what was a year and a half, 2 years there. And then the struggle kind of coming back in his minor leagues last year in 2025 and a few rehab starts down in the lower levels and then with AAA Lehigh Valley. But that's expected when you're coming back from such a major surgery like Tommy John, especially as a young guy, still developing as a prospect, still learning the game of baseball at such a high level. AAA is a very tough level. Not many guys get up to AAA, not many guys get past AAA, but Andrew Painter, he is here in Major League Baseball, and he was very impressive in his Major League debut with the Philadelphia Phillies last night in that win over the Nationals. Right from the beginning, Andrew Painter was dominant. He struck out James Wood. James Wood is a very good player in Major League Baseball, a very young player for the Nationals. He is a superstar in the making, not quite a superstar right now, possibly by the end of the year, but James Wood, that is a great way to start your career, striking out a player like James Wood, and Andrew Painter did just that. Very first batter he faced, strikeout. And then he went on to have a 1-2-3 first inning. Great stuff out of Andrew Painter. It was fun to watch. Got in a little bit of trouble in the second inning, but he worked out of it, which was also great to see. There was a line drive, one hopper to right field to Adolis Garcia, then a weak grounder down the third base line, just got by Alec Boehm. He was playing a little off the third base line, went into left field to start that inning. So it was first and second with no outs, obviously. There, nothing ball game. A lot of rookies can crumble under that pressure there early in a ball game in their Major League career start in Major League Baseball. Andrew Painter, though, got out of that job. And again, great to see out of such a young guy there in his MLB debut. I know they were playing the Nationals, but the Nationals are a young and talented team. They're very aggressive hitters. So things could have went really bad really quick for Andrew Painter. But he got out of that jam. He got a fly out to center field, then a fly out to left. Now the runner did tag up and advance to third base with 2 outs. So it was first and third. 2 outs for Andrew Painter at that point. And then he got a line out to right field to Adolis Garcia to end the inning. Still a 0-0 ball game, and got out of that early jam there with runners on first and second and no outs. Great to see. He also got himself into a little bit of a mini jam. I shouldn't say he got himself into it. It really wasn't his fault at all that he was in this mini jam, but that was in the 4th inning. There was, if you watched the game, you may remember Trey Turner, Bryson Stott, second and shortstop, and even Justin Crawford out in center field. There was a high pop-up right behind the second base bag. All 3 of them standing here like this. They couldn't see it under the lights there. Ended up dropping. Nobody was covering second base. Gave you kind of war flashbacks to the night before with all those fielding mistakes and all those just a horrible game when they got blown out 13-2. Looked just like that. You were like, oh boy, here we go again. But Andrew Painter did get out of that little jam. The runner did get to second base because, again, nobody was covering second base. There, the ball dropped, and the ball was hit so high that it was such an easy way to get to second base. So it dropped for a double with just 1 out in the inning. So all of a sudden, he's in a jam. Like I said, again, another runner in scoring position, less than 2 outs. But Andrew Painter got back-to-back strikeouts to end that 4th inning and get out of that little mini jam that, again, was not his fault to begin with that he was in that jam. But we got to see him do that twice, which is always good to see, again, as a young pitcher in Major League Baseball making your MLB debut. And then he looked really good. He did not allow a walk. He had some command issues if you were following along with him last year in AAA during his kind of comeback from Tommy John here and there. Some games where he had a lot of walks. He did not allow a walk here in his Major League debut last night until the 5th inning. In fact, he was through 4 1/3 innings, so he had 1 out in the 5th inning. Finally allowed a walk. That was the only walk he allowed in his Major League debut. He was pulled into the 5th inning. He was pulled after 5 1/3 innings, so he made it into the 6th inning for his Major League debut. Looked really good. He allowed a single to, I believe, right field, 84 pitches. So still probably could have pitched a little bit more, but I think that was the right decision pulling Andrew Painter out of there in that situation because, again, 84 pitches, you're through the lineup a few times. Now, guys, a senior, you're a young guy. You let up that single with 1 out, though. He could have got out of that again, but Rob Thompson decided to pull him. I think that's the right move again because last thing you want is him to get into that 6th inning. Again, you're through the lineup a couple times. Hitters had a chance to see you now. And then you let up that single with less than 2 outs. A big inning could end up happening. And then all of a sudden you're getting bashed on Philly Sports Talk Radio the next day on 94 WIP, 97.5 The Fanatic. All these guys bashing you because you let up a bunch of runs there in the 6th inning. All of a sudden you're giving shades of your last year in AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. And now all of a sudden nobody wants you pitching here in Philadelphia because you blew up in your Major League start. So take him out on a high note, which Rob Thompson did. I support that. And Andrew Painter's final line was 5 1/3 innings. He allowed just 4 hits, that 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for Andrew Painter in those 5 1/3 innings. And he picked up the win ultimately there when the Phillies won it 3-2. Now, he was 1 strikeout shy of tying the Phillies franchise record for the most strikeouts in an MLB debut. You may remember McAble last year. He got 9 strikeouts as his Major League debut. That also tied the record. I forget who had the record before that. It's blanking on me. I don't have it here in front of me. But we did see that last year. So Andrew Painter 1 shy of tying that record. Tanner Banks did come in for relief. Unfortunately, though, with that runner on first base, Tanner Banks did allow a single to right. So the runner did start to run towards third base. Adolis Garcia, not a bad throw by Adolis Garcia, trying to throw the runner out of third. I think it hit off the runner, either his helmet or his back or something. Bounced out of play into the netting or whatever. So he got home because of that, which means that runner who scored was still charged to Andrew Painter's line because he allowed that single with 1 out in the 6th inning. So again, unfortunately, he was charged that run, which is why he allowed that 1 earned run, but still 1 earned run in 5 1/3 innings with 8 strikeouts and picking up the win in your Major League debut. Awesome stuff. I can't wait to keep watching Andrew Painter this season. Can't wait to be watching him in a Phillies uniform for hopefully a long time. Also, shout out to Andrew's Painters. If you were watching the broadcast, I think there was 2 different groups there. They're dressed in painting overalls, a little paint all over them, some banners and stuff with paintbrushes. It was pretty cool. If you remember back in the day, Ruppy's Puppies, Cameron Rupp, the old Phillies catcher, they were a big thing too as well. Gave me a little flashbacks to that. But I think that was awesome for the Phillies fans, multiple groups of Phillies fans showing out for the young kid, for this highly anticipated prospect and player in his Major League debut, and really just a crowd like the Philadelphia faithful showing out. That's got to give you so much confidence if you're Andrew Painter moving forward. Now, it was also nice to see Andrew Painter got some veteran help from some of the Phillies veteran hitters, which is exactly what I was talking about in the previous video they needed to do for him. Phillies offense still not great last night in that win over the Nationals. Just 7 hits, 3 runs. Again, you want not horrible night, but you want a little bit more production out of such a highly powered and talented offense like the Phillies. But they did give him some early help. Kyle Schwarber, the Schwarbarian, with a solo home run in the 3rd inning. That gave the Phillies an early 1-0 lead, and Andrew Painter an early 1-0 lead. Helps you settle in a little bit rather than pitching in a 0-0 ball game or pitching from behind. Kyle Schwarber's 2nd home run of this early 2026 season, so he's getting off to his power start, which is always great to see. Adolis Garcia, he also hit a solo home run in the 4th inning, the very next inning, to give the Phillies and Andrew Painter an early 2-0 lead. Adolis Garcia's first career home run with the Philadelphia Phillies, so that's good to see. Adolis Garcia also just missed a home run earlier in that ball game in his first at-bat. Kind of hit it off the end of the bat, but it still went out to the left field warning track. So he might be swinging a good bat here. I think he had 2 hits in that 13-2 blowout loss to the Nationals. So hopefully that's a good sign of things to come here for Adolis Garcia. And that's exactly, like I said, they needed to get him an early lead, especially just as your first start in Major League Baseball. Just helped you settle in, and it was nice to see the Phillies veterans come through. They also got another run by Bryce Harper. I didn't really mention that because it could have been a double play to the end of the inning. The Nationals ended up booting the ball at first base. A little bit of an error, run scored. Everybody was safe. So they got an early 3-0 lead, I guess you should say, but it really helped with those 2 early home runs. And speaking of the young guys, just a shout out to both Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford. It's really a breath of fresh air. We all know this Phillies lineup, this Phillies roster is an older roster, an aging roster, a veteran-heavy roster. You need this infusion of youth, just the energy that these young guys bring, and so far, they are bringing it. Andrew Painter, obviously, we just talked about his Major League debut, how great that was last night. He was awesome. Justin Crawford, nothing really too notable last night for Justin Crawford, but he was 1 for 3, so he picked up another hit. He's got 4 hits now in the early parts of his Major League career, batting .333 through his first 4 Major League Baseball games. So the Phillies young rookies, the Phillies young guns, looking good early on, and hopefully that stays true for the remainder of the 2026 season and for a long time here throughout their Philadelphia Phillies and Major League Baseball career. And as I said to start this video, they were ranked number 13 and number 11 on Bleacher Report's top 25 rookies for 2026 right now in Major League Baseball. And they keep playing and pitching the way that they have so far in the very short and early parts of their career, then they are going to be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Don't want to jinx anything. Let's knock on some wood. But right now, the early signs and the early showings by these 2 young guys, the pair of 22-year-olds, awesome, and it's awesome for the Phillies and the Phillies fan base because, again, we really needed these young guys to come through. A lot of questions and concerns heading into the season, whether they could handle it right now, whether they actually would or not, whether they were hyped up too much, but they both showed you why so far. Again, very small sample size, but they're showing us why they are these highly talked about, highly anticipated, highly touted prospects entering their first season in Major League Baseball. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Kennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. It's much appreciated. Remember, Phillies day game here this afternoon, 1:05 p.m. Eastern, first pitch. Christopher Sanchez on the mound trying to get the Phillies their first series win of 2026. Tune in, and as always, go Phils.